Hi everyone, my name is Likhwa and I am the founder of Asaqeni. And welcome to week 4 of our series, Building Africa's Next Tech Unicorn. For those that are just joining us, we started off with a rapid prototyping tool for web design and graphics. But in week 3, we realized we needed to pivot, and that was based on user feedback. So now we're focusing on building a platform that connects buyers and suppliers across Africa, making it easier for businesses to find the products that they need. So this past week, we onboarded 12 new users, which is a great start. One question I often get is, do you get paid for every download of your app? Well, in our case, that is not the case, and that's not how it works. Today, I will be talking about the different ways that apps and websites make money, especially within the African context. So there are a number of ways for you to make money with apps, and the first one and the most common one is a freemium model. So this model offers basic features for free while charging for the premium features. And then we've got a subscription model. This is whereby users pay a recurring fee for access to the platform or specific features. So they pay monthly or annually. And then we've got in-app purchases. This is whereby revenue is generated through purchases made within the app. So if you're selling virtual goods or an upgrade or something, especially in games, so that's called in-app purchases. And then we've got advertising, which is probably the most common and the one that you see almost all the time, where apps earn money by displaying ads to users. And then we've also got a commission-based model. This is where platforms take a percentage or a fixed fee from each transaction. And then we've got enterprise solutions. These are tailored for larger businesses, including custom features and support. And then we've got white labeling. This is whereby you create a product and then you do not brand it and you allow other companies to use it as their own. And then you've got sponsorships and partnerships. This is whereby you can form a partnership with local businesses, and we've got crowdfunding in the community. So whereby you can leverage the support through crowdfunding platforms, or you can have your users help out. And then we've also got things like data monetization. Um, this is whereby you use anonymized data to provide insights to third parties. And then we've got e-commerce. This is whereby you're selling goods or services directly through your app or your website. And then we've got affiliate marketing. This is whereby you earn commissions by promoting other companies' products or services. So when you sell a product, or when you refer a customer, they give you a commission. So in Africa, we face unique challenges. That's because we don't really function like the rest of the world. Many users are reluctant to pay for apps. I've noticed even in my own case, I probably will not pay for an app, and that's not because I do not want to, but then that's because of issues like convenience. So you'll notice that for me to pay for a $2 app, I'll need to get a credit card, which means opening maybe a bank account and then having to pay $20 and so on. So, and that's because we're not really used to transacting online. Most of our transactions are cash based. And in some cases, it's due to economic reasons. People just do not have the money to pay for such things. And then advertising requires a large and a specific audience to be profitable, which can be quite challenging to achieve. So I'll just explain how that works. So in most cases, what people don't know about advertising is that it's a game of numbers. You need numbers for your advertising campaigns to work. So if you were to advertise, say with a platform like Google, they will pay you per click or per thousand views. It's called cost per click or cost per milli. And you'll notice that for 1,000 views, you might get about between $50, 50 cents, sorry, and $1.50. So for every 1,000 views, you'll get within that range. And so for you to make a significant amount of money, you need a very, very huge audience. And this is often challenging for most people to achieve. And I'll just talk about my own case. For example, I had the a number of apps on the Play Store, and then one of them had say over 100,000 users, and so for me to monetize it, I needed like a strong, concentrated audience. But then you'll find that, say, I have 1,000 users in Zimbabwe. How much would I make from that? Considering what I just told you, it would be about $1 something. Whereas if I was advertising to the American audience with maybe 60,000 users, then that would be something significant. That would be $1.50, say, by 60, and that would give us $90. So that's virtually how it works. So you need a huge audience for you to actually make a significant amount of money. And we don't really have use these platforms. We use PayPal and other things, but we've got our own EcoCash, we've got M-Pesa, and those work differently. And we do not have many people building gateways that we can use on our websites. So it then becomes hard to sell local goods and products. So if you're trying to do affiliate marketing, you now need to sell foreign goods because the local goods are hard to sell, right? So, which also brings me to my next point, which is about the difference between startups and small businesses. In our case, we are building a startup, and the difference between a startup and a small business is growth potential. So small businesses are just your usual the small business that you're used to. But then when you're building a startup, you're building something with the hope that it will grow rapidly and that it will be scalable. By that we mean you can replicate the model in other markets. So for example, I can start off in Zimbabwe and I can easily do that in South Africa, the neighboring countries, and even the US without much of a hassle. And then the next thing that determines the difference between a startup and a small business is innovation. So startups bring innovative solutions to the market. So you're trying to bring something new, not the usual thing that everyone is used to. And then in most cases, startups seek venture capital or angel investment. That's because it takes a while for the idea to work, and you need quite a lot of money to bring it to fruition. So what usually happens is that African founders face the challenge of you're trying to balance between life and building a startup, and oftentimes life will win, and so you can't do that. But then what this venture capital or angel funding does is that it gives you the room, the leeway to actually focus on your business and give it your all instead of doing it as a hobby. Because I think for most startup founders, if you talk to African startup founders, most of them will tell you that people treat it as more of a hobby. And then the next thing that determines the difference between startups and a small business is the risk and the reward. So there's a higher risk associated with startups. So it might work or it can go horribly bad, but the rewards are higher if it goes very well. And then the next thing is the time to profitability. So startups may take years to become profitable because you're trying to build something that will be scalable and all that. And what that involves is you try one thing and then it doesn't work. You try another thing, it doesn't work, and then until you eventually get it right. Most of the time, you're looking for something called product market fit. So I just felt I needed to explain the difference between a startup and a small business because oftentimes people confuse the two. And I think even here where I live in Zimbabwe, there's that confusion. So even when it comes to programs, we do not really have startup funding. What we have is small business funding. So you find that they've got programs whereby they give you a loan for say 5,000, but you can't really do much with 5,000. And most of the time, they require you to pay that within 6 months. And what that means is that you get the 5,000 today, and then you need to start making money by the end of this month. Whereas if you're building a startup, it might take you some time. Remember, we talked about needing an audience, and for you to get a sizable audience that can actually be profitable, in some cases, it takes months and maybe even years. So, the next question is how do we build a unicorn in Africa? It starts with recognizing the market potential and bringing innovative solutions that address local challenges, and scalability is key, and securing the right funding is crucial. So, when I talk of scalability, you'll notice that oftentimes it's usually tech startups that become unicorns, and the reason is because they're easily scalable. You can simply make the website accessible to another country, and people can use it the same without much investment needed. Whereas if you're building your traditional brick and mortar business, you would need to build something new each time, and that would cost you a lot, and it would also take you a lot of time. And there are also other things like cultural differences and all that. And so most of the time, it's easier to build a unicorn with a tech platform. And so now I'm just going to talk about the funding sources which are available for most startups. So the first and easiest one is grants. So grants is whereby you apply for money and then you get given to work on a specific idea. But then the good thing is that it's non-dilutive, meaning you retain ownership of your business, and oftentimes it's money that you do not need to repay. You just need to deliver on specific outcomes. And then you've got venture capital. Uh, this is what is mainly used for scaling startups, and this is what we do not have a lot of, especially in countries like mine in Zimbabwe. I once did some research, and you really don't find people who do that. If you do, it's actually someone who's in the diaspora who's trying to do something this side. But we do not really have any venture capital firms that are solidly building these startups, and that's why I'm hoping that we can change that with whatever we're building. And then you've also got angel investors. These are people who might see your idea and think there might be something, or they just want to see you win. And these ones help in most cases by also offering mentorship. They might bring their contacts and their networks. And then the other source of funding is crowdfunding, whereby you leverage the support of your community. So these are the various sources of funding that are available to startups, but you'll notice that the most common one is venture capital, and that's the one that probably understands and works well for startups. And then there are a number of startups and platforms which have made it. I think the last time I checked, we had about, I think it was about 4 unicorns, and then I think the number went up to, last time I checked, it must have been around, I think, close to about 12 in Africa. And we've got the usual, the Paystack and others. So those guys have navigated the challenges, and they've found innovative ways to monetize and scale. And remember the thing that I talked about earlier, it's all about growth, scalability, and innovation. So we might have other companies which are huge, but most of them probably wouldn't qualify as startups. And then lastly, I'm going to give you some tips on how to monetize in Africa. So the first thing that you probably need to do is to understand your audience, understand who you are targeting, and use your local networks, and also provide focus on providing real value. And I think you need to be innovative and offer flexible payment options. Um, like I talked about M-Pesa, I talked about EcoCash, and those are ways for people to pay which are probably not being used, and there hasn't been a gateway which probably uh, maximizes on how we can use those across multiple sites. And that's an opportunity for someone. So if you think we can do something there, I think it's something worth pursuing. I tried looking for some of the documentation for some of these platforms, just hoping to create something, but then I couldn't find much. And then also one thing you need to note is that if you're handling cash, then it also comes with risks. So you probably need to be wary of those risks. And like I talked about the challenges that we're facing, and one thing that you need to do is to understand how some of these things work. One thing I've seen with a lot of startup founders is that most of them haven't really created something to monetize, and so they do not understand. Most people do not understand that you're supposed to give value not just to your users, but also to your advertisers. So, if, for example, if you want to make money from advertising, you need to make sure that the users are getting stuff that they might be interested in, and you also need to make sure that the advertisers are actually getting more bang for their buck. What I've seen is that people will just throw ads at people, and then you just wonder. Um, you are supposed to target a specific audience, and that is what makes some of these platforms like Facebook and Google very, very profitable. It's because they are granular when it comes to targeting. They know who you are, they know your interests, they know what you like, they know who your friends are, and they know other things that are going on in your life because of your search history and the other information that you give them. So it's important to understand your audience, and that is why analytics are important. You need to make sure that you are doing the best to understand your audience, and that will help you to give them things that actually matter. So if you understand your audience, you can also target the right advertisers. So instead of coming to me with ads for, like I'm always seeing these ones for Unicaf and other things, you can then give me ads that are actually specific to me and my needs. So in conclusion, and just to wrap it up, understanding how apps and websites make money is crucial for any entrepreneur. I hope this video has given you some valuable insights. If you have any questions or thoughts, please share them in the comments below. There's more to it, and this is more like just to give you an introduction of the whole thing. But I hope it makes sense, and I hope you guys found it useful. So I'd love to hear from you. Please like, comment, and share. And remember to click the notification bell so that you never miss an update. Thank you.